Class 9, welcome back to your social studies classes. So, in today's class, we are going to start chapter number 4 of civics, and the chapter name is the local self government, Panchayati Raj. So, let's start today's class. India is a vast country, very big country, right? That is why the our democratic structure has been divided into three levels, and those three levels are: number one is national level, number two state level, and number three is at the grassroots level, right? So governance at the grassroots level is known as Panchayati Raj, and the municipal institutions. So the abbreviations of this Panchayati Raj institutions and the municipal institutions are PRINMIS, right? To these institutions, we give the name of local self government. So, local self government is what? Local self government is a local body or an elected body enjoying a certain degree of autonomy, that means power, certain degree of power, autonomy, and serving as an administrative unit for local affairs, right? So let's talk about this, the other needs and the importance of local self government, why they are needed, what is the importance of local self government. Okay, now before moving to the need and the importance of local self-government, let's talk about the differentiate between the local government and local self-government. So there is a very contrast between this local government and local self government. So, local government is that administrative body or which means the administration of a locality by which is governed by officials, government officials, right? And appointed, and those officials are appointed by the government, right? So that's the local government. Now when we talk about, whereas local self government means it is the management of local affairs by the natives means people of an local people of an area itself or their representatives, right? So the examples of your local government are like DM, district magistrate, and your tehsildar, patwari. They are the local governments, officials of local governments who are appointed by the government, right? Now the examples of local self government are like municipal councillors and your gram pradhan, sarpanch. So they are the examples of local self-government who are elected or elected by their representative, or the people living in their in that particular area, right? So this is the difference between the local government and the local self-government. So only the difference is local government. In local government, they are elected, appointed by the government, and in local self-government, they are elected by the people, local people of an area, uh, local people of an area, right? They are elected by local people of an area, particular area. Okay, now next topic is the need and the importance of local self-government. First need is for the effective management of the local affairs. So local affairs like management of proper sanitation, proper supply of drinking water, and proper parks and all that, water supply, education, and public works can be better handled by the local people, right? Now second is self government. So self government means self government provides opportunity to the people to govern themselves, because this is self government is what, it's a very important and essential thing, right? So a free people are a people who participate in decision affecting their lives and destinies. That is why self-government is very, very important. So self-government means like self-relying on oneself, right? So that is very, very important. Now next is good is a training good training for running the central and the state governments. So local bodies provide a good training to management or manage national and the state affairs, as well as most people who reached great heights began their public career as a members of local bodies. For examples, your Dadabhai Naroji and your Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, they were the great leaders who they all had been nurtured in their civic bodies, right? This local body, it reduces the burden of the state and the central government, right? So due to the devolution of authority, the state government is relieved of some of its burden. So hence it can concentrate better on the matters like public order, criminal law, police, prisons, and the trade and commerce with the state. So state government will handle those matters. They will look after those matters so that the state government would not interfere or would not have much work to look after the state as well as their local bodies, right? So in local bodies, this panchayati raj or your uh, municipal corporations, these type of local bodies are there, which lowers the burden of the state government as well as the central government also, right? So because of this, like the panchayati raj system and the local bodies, we can say local governments or local bodies like your Nagar Panchayat, municipal corporation, and Panchayati Raj system, your Panchayat, they lower the burden of the working of the state government, right? So this ensures efficiency at all levels, national, that is the central, national, regional, and local levels, right? Now next is this system is extremely economical. So extremely economical means the panchayat, panch, the five members in the village, that is panchayat, and the your sarpanch, gram pradhan, they are those local officials, government, self government officials who work without the salary, without payment, right? That is why these bodies consist of serving without pay or with very little emoluments, right? So they get aids only, or they get grants from the state government, but they do not get monthly salary. So they are as a honorary members who serve without pay or with very less emolument, right? Okay. Now next is evolution of Panchayati Raj institutions, how it was or how it evolved out. Okay, in 1947, the country became independent, and after that, according to the constitution, Article 40 of the Indian Constitution lays down that the state would take initiative or effective step for the organization of Gram Panchayat. So, the community development program was initiated on October 2nd, 1952, and after that, in 2nd October 1959, this is not given in your book, you just do write there, on 2nd October 1959, 1959, that the Panchayati Raj was introduced in India, right? So now next topic is Balwant Rai Mehta Committee. So this was a committee which was set up under the chairmanship of Balwant Rai Mehta in 1957, right, to review the laws passed by the various states in regard to the organization of panchayats. So they set up an organizations to review the laws passed by the various states for the establishment of establishment of an organization, that is panchayat, right? So, and that was under the leadership or the chairmanship of Balwant Rai Mehta, right, in 1957. Now the committee recommended three-tier system or three-tier structure. So those tier or structure of the self-government are at the village level, that is a village panchayat, at the block level, that is panchayat samitis, and at the district level, that is zilla parishads, right? So these are the three tier structure. First is yes, the first one is village panchayat, second is panchayat samiti, and the third one is zilla parishads, right? So Panchayati Raj has been introduced now in the all states except Meghalaya and Nagaland, right? Now next is Panchayati Raj Act of 1993. What this act says. In book it was written that in 24th April 1993 this new Panchayati Raj Act was introduced. According to that, it provides few guidelines for a new Panchayati Raj Act schemes in the states, like the amendment requires a three-tier Panchayati Raj system at the village, intermediate and district levels. So small states with a population below 20 lakh have been given the option not to constitute the panchayat at the intermediate, that means at the block level, right? So the village having less population, that less population means below 20 lakh, right? So those villages or those states, small states, right? So those states with population below 20 lakh have been given the option not to constitute the panchayat at the block level, right? Okay, so this was according to this was actually the amendment done in the 73rd Amendment Act, added to a new schedule, that is to the Constitution, and this came into force on 24th April 1993. Now next is at the village level. Under the existing Panchayati Raj Acts, two bodies have been set up at the village level which are interconnected. They are Gram Sabha and Gram Panchayat, right? So, and both these Gram Sabha and Gram Panchayat, they are interconnected. Now, what is meant by Gram Sabha? So, Sabha means assembly and Gram means village. So, it's a village assembly, right? So, the Gram Sabha is a center of self-governance at the village level. It is a forum that ensures direct and participative democracy. The Gram Sabha comprises of all adults registered as voters in the Panchayat area. So Gram Sabha is a village assembly that comprises of all adults. So all adults means the person who is 18 years and above 18, right, and who are registered as voters of that Panchayat area. So they are the members of Gram Sabha. The Gram Sabha therefore offers equal opportunity to all the citizens. Gram Sabha elects the Gram Pradhan for the tenure of 5 years. So Gram Sabha only, the members of Gram Sabha, they elect one person as a president who is known as Gram Pradhan or Sarpanch, and he or she is elected for the tenure of 5 years. Now next is sittings of Gram Sabha. So the Gram Sabha has at least 2 meetings in a year. So that means they have to meet twice in a year, right? So the first after the harvesting of Kharif, that is summer crop, and the second one is Rabi, that is winter season. The Pradhan can convene special meetings of the Sabha if he likes. So in between that also, twice they have to meet for this meeting. But if there is certain or special occasions or any emergency, they can meet more than 2 times, right? So the meeting can be held more than 2 times. Now, functions of Gram Sabha. What are the functions? Number 1, to approve the budget of the for the year of that village, right? Secondly, so budget means expenditure and how much amount is deposited, right? Next is to consider new taxes which the Gram Panchayat may likely to levy. Second is imposing taxes. Third is to review the audit report of the last year's accounts of the panchayat. So last year records that how much expenditure is or how much they have spent in which things. That budget is to be audited, and that annual report has to be made, right? As already stated, that Gram Sabha elects the Gram Pradhan as well as the members of the Gram Panchayat. So this is also the function of Gram Sabha, that they would elect Gram Pradhan. If the Gram Pradhan or the Vice President are not working properly, they can be removed from their offices also, provided 2/3 of the members of the Gram Sabha pass a resolution to that effect, and it oversees all other activities regarding the village. So they have to look after other works or the workings of other officials also under them, and so that it oversees all other activities regarding the village, other activities, or if there is any fair or any activities like local markets or any fairs or any function is held in that time, the Gram Sabha, they have to look after they have to organize all the activities regarding that village and village program and function, right? Okay, now next is Gram Panchayat and its meaning. So Gram Panchayat is what? It is an executive wing. So executive means who implements, right? So that is the executive wing of the Gram Sabha. It ensures that the constitution maker's dream of Gram Swaraj is realized. Now, so this is executive. Executive means those who implements the rules and regulations or look after the working of the village and overall look after the overall activities of the village, right? Okay, it ensures, so this Gram Panchayat, it ensures that the constitution maker's dream of Gram Swaraj is realized. Now next is composition tenure of the Gram Panchayat. Composition and the tenure of the panchayat. So panchayat means 5 members. Generally there are 5 members in panchayat, but the state government decides the number of the panchayat, because according to the village population only they will decide the number of that panchayat members, right? So the Pradhan, President, Sarpanch and the Vice President of the Gram Sabha are the ex officio members of the Gram Panchayat. Only those person can become members of the Panchayat. Now here are the qualifications. Number 1 is who have attained an age prescribed by the law, right? And under the act or law. And secondly, who are mentally sound. They can only be the member of panchayat. And thirdly, who are not disqualified under any law made by the state legislature. So that means he should not have criminal record. Clear? Okay. Now, next is the Sarpanch. So, in some states, the Sarpanch is directly elected or elected directly by the voters in the Panchayat area, in other indirectly also. So, that is by the Panch, right? Now, reservation of seats are also there. So, under the new act, in the all panchayat seats would be reserved for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. And you all know about the why this reservation is given to the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribe people, right? So in proportions to their population, so there is a reservation of seats for the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe people, right? And moreover, at least 1/3 of the total members of seats would be reserved for women. Now the women reservation has been the seat has been converted or raised to 50%. Now, not only 1/3 of the total number of seats, but now 50%. That means if there are 10 members in a panchayat, that means 5 seats would be reserved for women according to the new rules or new law, right? So the Constitution of India may soon be amended by the so that the seats reserved for the women can be raised to 50%, right, of the total number of seats in all the Panchayati Raj institution, that is PRIS. Clear? Now next is duration or tenure. Every panchayat has a uniform 5 years term. So once he or she becomes a once a person becomes the member of panchayat or sarpanch, he or she can serve for uniform 5 years term. 5 years. In the event of dissolution, elections would be compulsorily held within 6 months. Now 5 years is his or her tenure, but if he or she has to resign within that 5 years, in that case, there would be compulsorily elections would be compulsorily held within 6 months of that removal or dissolution. Now next is meetings. The panchayat usually meets once a month. The meeting is presided by the sarpanch, that is the president. All decisions are taken by majority vote. In the event of a tie, the sarpanch has a casting vote. So casting vote is a tie-breaking vote. So as it is mentioned here, or we know that all decisions are taken by the majority vote. So whatever the matter is taken into that in front of the sarpanch or the panchayat, that has to be decided according to the, or that the decision are taken by the majority of vote. But if there is tie, if the votes if there is equal vote, in that case the sarpanch will give yes or no vote to break that tie. So that vote is known as casting vote. Clear? So in the event of a tie, the sarpanch, the pradhan or the president has a, or the sarpanch will give his or her vote, that is known as tie breaking vote, and that tie breaking vote is popularly known as casting vote. Clear? Okay. So children, that's all for the day. Rest of the topics I'll try to complete in the next video. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.